All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a special collaboration episode, Locker Room Talk Uncut and Black Sheep Podcast. I'm Drew Garrison with my co-host down here, Chad Penrod.
And I'm Josh Collier with my co-host, my co-host Tyler Barnhart. We are the Black Sheep Podcast. So again, Drew said it, special collab episode. How you guys doing tonight?
I'm good, man.
So Locker Room Talk Uncut. Interesting name. What's the background on that one?
It was initially just supposed to be sports.
Yeah, we've really gone off the rails the last couple of weeks and just dove into everything. But it really kind of started with just like we were both at work, and I was like, dude, like we should start a sports podcast. And we went to Guitar Center and bought mics and shit that night. And really, the main idea of it is like locker room talk. It's that's a Trump thing, Not because of Trump, but he just kind of made that term famous, the locker room talk thing. And we made it uncut because we really don't edit. We kind of just turn the mics on and go. We get in there, get drunk and record, and we cuss and all that stuff. And we bring people in and just let them say pretty much whatever they want. And it gets to be pretty fun.
I can dig it.
Where did your name come from? How did you guys come up with Black Sheep?
So Black Sheep, we are two guys from Southwest Ohio who have zero fandom in Ohio. I'm the closest with Ohio State. But us, my professional football team is the Jags. Tyler's the Chiefs. We go baseball. He's a San Fran Giants fan. I'm a Shy Sox. So there's just no hometown loyalty with us for those Black Sheep sports fans. Yeah.
Basically.
So Chad, bring us in on your teams. Let the people know what teams you root for the most.
Oh, yeah. Browns, Cavs, Indians, Duke. I think Duke's the only thing I'm not in the state with. And I just kind of grew up with really liking Coach K. So, but, that's where I'm at.
Tyler, drop your loyalties. I know your listeners probably already know, but for ours, let them know.
I'm a Kansas City Chiefs fan, Notre Dame, Los Angeles Lakers, kind of, quotes, and the San Francisco Giants.
Did you get one of those rings,
Tyler? They ain't even selling the replicas yet. I'm definitely trying to cop one of those replicas.
You'll get one.
In the taxes alone, like $11,000 or something like that. I seen earlier
that the employees had to pay.
That's wild. That is insane.
My fandom is obviously the Bengals. I'm in the locker room here where we record our stuff. We got jerseys hanging up all over the place and everything. I'm wearing the Burrow jersey today, but I'm a Bengals fan. I'm a Michigan football fan, so I love punishment. A Lakers fan. I fell in love with the Lakers when Kobe and Shaq were at their height, so I've stuck with the Lakers since then. And then I actually like Duke as well. That's like the one thing that Chad and I can root together on. And that was because back in the day when I was younger, JJ Redick was just balling. I just really like JJ Redick. So that's a little bit of the background on us. Baseball, I would say I'm a Reds fan, but I don't really follow it all that much.
Yeah.
And Josh,
where's your loyalties, Tyler?
Teams.
Yeah.
Josh's turn. Let's hear it, Josh.
My loyalties?
Yeah.
Oh man, we're all over the place. We are a Jags fan for the NFL. So again, I'm like Drew. I'm a glutton for punishment there. MLB, Chicago White Sox. If I had to go college basketball, it's UConn, and then Detroit Pistons for the NBA. Everywhere. Weird stories for every single one of those.
Yep, I feel you.
I'm a Michigan fan because my dad played for Ohio State, and I got pissed at him when I was 6. And I just wrote it out. Now I really, really like Michigan football. I just wrote it out just to piss him off at the start, but then I just stuck with it. And now that's my team.
Yeah, so let's get right into the NBA playoffs. We recording on September 3rd, so we already know the results of a couple games. We can start with the Celtics and Raptors. The Raptors just hit a buzzer beater to win to make it 2-1. Kind of surprised by that. I picked the Celtics, but I thought it would go 7. It's looking now like Jason Tatum's balling. I don't know. It might go 5. We'll just have to see.
On our episode, we were talking, and Chad had the Raptors coming out of the East at a point because they were just playing so good. I mean, they didn't really lose that much of a step without Kawhi. They play team ball, they play hard defense, but I just couldn't believe when I saw, because like I kind of was I haven't really watched a lot of the second round games yet, and I was like, wait, Boston's up 2-0 on Toronto?
Yeah.
Well,
Wow.
when you look at Miami, you look at Boston, and you look at Toronto. To me, they kind of mimic each other. They kind of just this physical, just team. They play really well as a team. As where with the Bucks, you kind of have Giannis, and I actually did pick that upset. I think Miami's going to beat the Bucks in like 5.
You did.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like they have a few players in Crowder and Jimmy Buckets who can put the pressure on Giannis and make another person beat him.
Wait, you said in 5?
I put 5. Yeah.
Oh, damn.
I'm not too
I would,
surprised by that one.
whew, 5. I was thinking like 6, 7.
See, Jimmy Butler's a killer right now. He's on different mode. I figured they would have took out Milwaukee, but Boston surprising me. I had Toronto going out of the East too, honestly. If you would have told me before the series, I would have picked Toronto all day. I mean, in one of our episodes, I compared them to the Spurs. I think I told you about that, Drew. Just the way they move the ball. Yeah, just the way they move the ball, play together, and they don't need that superstar. Siakam can play that, like, best player on the team role at this point. But, yeah, it's crazy. These games are wild.
I also thought the Heat would win. I didn't think they would start off 2-0. Once again, I thought both East series would go to 7 games. But shockingly, it seems like the underdog came to play in both of those. So I'll be interested to see if the Heat can close it out or if Giannis makes that comeback.
So let me ask you guys a question then, talking about that. If the Bucks lose this series, is it the start of Giannis forcing his way out of Milwaukee? Because there's been a lot of rumors already. Golden State's been brought up, Miami's been brought up, and what was the other one? Toronto. Yeah, Toronto's been brought up.
I don't know if he would leave. I don't know if he's got that kind of personality. I think he would try to stay with the Bucks. But if he joins Golden State, I'm gonna be super pissed.
Yeah, I don't know if
That
he'd
would
force his way.
suck.
Yeah, I don't know if he'd force his way out either. He doesn't seem like that guy. I think the media wants him to force his way out because Milwaukee's
AD never
that
seemed
small
like
market.
that guy either, though.
Yeah, but again, that was people pushing, and then AD's finally like, yeah, I probably should just get my way out of here. Because AD was never that dude. He just signed that extension and everything. And then he was just like, yeah, I'm done. It was weird.
I think Giannis kind of wants to prove that he is in the category of the LeBrons and the KDs. So I think he doesn't want to take that. I think he wants to win on his own, before he joins a team. But I don't know if he's capable of doing that in Milwaukee with Chris Middleton as his second star next to him.
That's where I was going to go next, Tyler. I think that if they happen to lose, I think you're going to see the end of Middleton there. If the Bucks really want to make a move, they're going to get somebody other than Chris Middleton. You're probably going to see like Middleton, Bledsoe, and probably a handful of other guys gone for a big star. If he stays in Milwaukee.
Do you guys think
Middleton got paid though?
He did. I don't know if nobody's taking that contract. Do you guys think that Giannis is in a category of the Harden, KD, Kawhi, LeBron, Luka range? Or
I think Giannis is a regular season fraud. I think he might be
I
a
don't
fraud.
like Giannis. He's too limited. I mean, obviously he's an amazing athlete, but his lack of range there's easy ways to clamp on him in the playoffs.
And there's no reason he should have been Defensive Player of the Year over AD. AD had like 80 more blocks and 30 more steals. That was a robbery.
He's a good story.
I don't know, man. He's just tough. Like that's actually a really good question. I don't know where I would probably say right under those superstar guys, just because he hasn't done anything yet.
Yeah, you got to do it when it matters most.
How do you not ask for that assignment on Jimmy Butler when he's going off on you?
Yeah.
And then get mad about it. And then get mad at the question.
Right.
And we can start talking about the West now. We can go over to Denver and the Clippers. Does anybody take in Denver in this series?
No.
I got Clips in 5.
Ooh.
I mean,
6.
I could see Denver getting a game or two. if Paul George is off. The Clippers are going to go as Paul George goes. It's kind of like the Lakers and AD, and we can get into that later, but you know what Kawhi is going to give you. You don't know what some of their role guys are going to give you on a night-to-night basis, but you know what you're going to get out of Kawhi, but they're going to come down to Paul George.
Yeah, he's got to get rid of the yips.
Jamal Murray to me is a beast, but with Jokic, I said on Twitter that he's the most useless star I've ever seen, and I said I don't even know what I mean by that. It's just kind of how I feel. Like, I can't deny that the dude's a beast, but it's like every time I watch him, I'm like, is this guy really dropping 30 on these guys? Like, I don't see what it is. I just feel like he never takes over a game, so I just feel like he's always just the most pointless star.
And what you're going to see now with him, you're going to see Paul George and Kawhi on him now. So I don't think you're going to see those big games that he's been having. I mean, who was guarding him then? Was it Mitchell? I mean, or was it?
It was
Conley?
pretty much him and Mitchell going 1-on-1.
Yeah. Yeah, Paul George is going to take Murray probably. They're going to give Kawhi somebody else. Probably, I don't think they're going to want him running around.
I just don't trust anybody else on Denver to step it up and take him to that next level if they're able to take Murray out of the game. They don't have that other guy. You know, Jokic can maybe get a little bit of work in the post because I don't have really a lot of bigs down there, but you're going to have a wing that can get off, and I just don't think that they have it unless Murray gets his, and I think the Clippers will take that away.
Michael Porter will have to do what he did the first 2 games against the Jazz, but he'll have to do that for the whole series. There's no way without him.
That dude's
just because he is. Yeah,
What's
I'm not saying he's a
Michael
beast.
Porter. Like he had these
sucks.
big. I play FanDuel every day, so this guy was getting 60, 70 FanDuel points, and now he's back down to like 20. He
fell off hard.
You're not built for it, man.
Go ahead.
The bubble, man. The bubble is exposing, I think, a lot because you don't have like the crowd energy to feed off of or the fans or anything. I think it's really showing the dudes that like can really lock in and like who was working while things were locked down, who was working when, you know, the team facilities were shut down, you know, like the Lakers and I think the Clippers were doing like illegal practices during all of it. And it's like some of these dudes are locked in and focused and some of them aren't. Like that's just what I think. Like, and I go back to like Lou Williams going to the strip club when he was out for his dad's funeral, even if it is to just pick up chicken wings, like send your buddy in to get the wings, just little stuff like that. I think the bubble's exposing these guys that like really lock in.
Yeah, I think the biggest X factor in that series is going to be Gary Harris. He came back a little bit last series and was super rusty. So I think if he can come back to what he usually plays like, that they might give him a test, but I still just see Clippers in 5 or 6.
Yeah,
I'd probably say Clippers in 5. If not a sweep, I could see a sweep easily.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it's a sweep, especially if Paul George picks up where he left off last series.
Yeah, and I know Paul George caught a lot of flack. I cracked up when somebody called him PG 13%. I saw that on Twitter. I thought that was hilarious. But he did come out. He's like, man, this is like he talked about how hard it is, like the mental struggles. And I commend him for, you know, having the nuts to say that because a lot of dudes, you know, don't want to talk about that. They don't want to be vulnerable. So he has bounced back, and I'm sure it has been hard. And I'm hoping now that some of these teams are leaving and families are coming, you know, like these guys can start getting laid. I think it was
Jamal Murray's got to stay
better.
off IG.
Yeah, I guess
Chad texted that to me last night. He said, all right, let's get some women in there for these dudes.
They need it, man. You know how it is after like a couple days. These guys have gone a couple weeks.
Dude, a month. Whew.
Yeah, let's talk about my bandwagon team and yours team, the Lakers and the Rockets. I have an interesting take at the end of this, but I will say that everybody on our page knows I'm a bronsexual, but I will retire with the Lakers, hopefully. That's the plan. So I just see the Lakers, if they play the way they should, which they didn't against Portland game 1, so I hope they don't have another stinker like that. But I can see the Lakers sweeping this. I don't think they will. I think they'll win it in 5. They should win it in 5, but I think they could sweep. What do you guys think?
I don't know if they'll sweep.
Man.
I just don't see a scenario where James Harden doesn't go for a 51 game to at least steal 1. 5 I could see all day. I don't know. Sweep's a little tough. They don't have anybody to guard AD. They're gonna have PJ Tucker at 6'7" guarding them. So I don't know how much that's gonna do. But yeah, the small ball versus the Lakers is gonna be quite the matchup.
Well, we had all this Portland hype coming in, and I said I was guilty. I bought into it a little bit too much. And then game one, okay, the Lakers laid an egg. But then the length and the size of the Lakers was just glaring against Portland. They were killing them on the offensive glass. They were killing them on the boards. You got McGee out there, AD, of course, Dwight Howard out there, and he'll come in and like rough you up and get the energy going a little bit. I'm not going to say 5. I think it goes 6 or 7, and a lot of it's going to depend on. I feel like Danny Green's going to have to get shots, and AD's going to have to play the 5 a lot, and I don't think he really likes playing the 5. And the Lakers have to manage that because they're waiting on him to re-sign. Is he going to stay? So they have to be like, they have to kind of handle him with kid gloves. But I think it's going to come down to AD playing the 5 and Danny Green hitting shots. And I know Chad was hoping for this series. He's ready for this one.
Well, my last prediction for the finals was the Rockets and Toronto, but it just every week, man, because the Lakers look like shit. They're at the beginning, but now they're kind of back to their self. And when you really look at it, it's like, okay, who's going to guard AD? And I don't think they have anybody for AD. And then when you think about it, like, who's going to guard LeBron? Is it going to be PJ Tucker, who is probably the best person to guard him? But then who's going to guard AD?
Yeah, you need Tucker for AD.
I'm going to switch again. I think the Lakers win this in 6. Now, see, I'm huge on James Harden. I love James Harden, so this one's a little difficult for me to say the Lakers in 6. But the one thing that I think you have to watch for this, how the Lakers would trap Dame up top and force the ball out of his hand. I think Westbrook's going to be too fast to do that, and I think Harden's going to be too good to do that. So I think the Lakers just got to beat them with size and length, and that's how I think they win.
I think they'll probably put Robert Covington on LeBron.
Probably.
Yeah.
But Covington stepped up big time last night, but I don't know about him guarding AD or LeBron for a series. My thing is, I just feel like, dude, Russ has been terrible. I know he just got back. He was hurt or whatever, but man, those last 2 games, he was awful. They won last night in spite of Russell Westbrook, not because of Russell Westbrook. If he gets things going, it could be trouble because, okay, you can have your best defender go out and check Harden, be that LeBron or maybe Danny Green. But then if you got them both humming and both playing at a high level, that gets tough.
Well, Harden was also 5 for 14, so he didn't have a good game either, and they still won the game. My thing is this with the Rockets: if you get Harden when he's shooting good, I don't think the Lakers are going to beat him, but I think it's just too inconsistent. Now, if you get Harden and Russ both playing good, that's when because we know the Rockets can put up 130, 140 points. Now, with that being said, the Lakers play great defense as well. But like I said, I just can't get away from, all right, who's guarding LeBron, who's guarding AD, and that's why now I think Lakers in 6.
And Mike D'Antoni doesn't care. He's like, dude, they can score 160 points as long as we score 161. Mike D'Antoni doesn't give a shit about defense. And shockingly, Harden's best play of the game last night was a defensive play. It was like the second time he played defense all year.
Yeah, I fell asleep for that game. I was so mad. I fell asleep in like the third quarter, woke up. And
dude, that was the
Twitter.
Worst 2 minutes of basketball I've seen in a long time. It was bad.
Terrible.
Billy Donovan is a moron. You don't drop a play for Steven Adams at the 3-point line. What? With 1.5 left. What the fuck?
All right, since we're on the Lakers, I have an interesting take that Josh can't wait to argue me on. He's been talking about it to me for a while now. But I made a comment to Josh. I have no stats to back this up. I didn't look up any stats or do any research. But I said, I think AD right now is the best player that LeBron has ever played with. Just where he's at in his career and what he can do mixed with LeBron, I just think he's the best player that LeBron's teamed up with. So, Josh, I'll let you argue me on that one.
So I rebutted this with Dwayne Wade because I think LeBron fans try to put him down because they say that he taught LeBron how to be a winner. So I think they take that as a slight. But Dwayne Wade when LeBron joined him the year before, Dwayne Wade was 26 points a game, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, 1 block, and a steal a game. And that first year was at 26 points a game again. But they assumed that Dwayne Wade was old by the time LeBron got there. And Dwayne Wade was a winner where AD hasn't won nothing at this point in his career.
That's
my rebuttal to that.
I mean,
It's tough,
it's got to be AD, it's going to be Wade, or it's going to be Kyrie. And I would say Kyrie. Now, Cleveland Kyrie was awesome. LeBron just plays so great when he can play off the ball sometimes. And I'm going to hit on that, but I've been telling Drew this for weeks. The best thing the Lakers can do next year when, like, Kyrie and KD get together is somehow get CP3. I think CP3 would play great with LeBron and AD, and I think they'd probably win it all next year. That's in my opinion. But with that being said, I'd probably agree with Tyler. Just AD is just a different animal. Now, AD does have these tactics where he gets hurt a lot. He gets soft sometimes, as to where with Wade it wasn't like that. And you knew that Wade was also going to get great defense. So it's tough, but I'd probably go AD.
AD is definitely the most talented. I mean, he's 7 foot tall. He's got guard ball skills because he played guard all the way up until like 8th grade, and then he had this crazy growth spurt. He can step out and shoot the three. I would lean AD, and I'm not a LeBron guy. Tyler would probably tell you that I criticize LeBron entirely too much as a Lakers fan, but I think that Wade had started his decline when LeBron came, and LeBron kind of kept him up a little bit, and part of that is because Wade put his body through a lot before LeBron got there. Even like, he had Shaq for that ring, but I mean, he was going hard. He put his body through a lot. And I think LeBron kind of extended his prime by a few years.
And
that was
kill me,
Tyler's argument.
Before people kill me about this, I'm not saying AD is better than Dwayne Wade right now. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that the age that LeBron joined up with AD is better than the age that D Wade was when they played together.
Yeah, because AD is what, like 26?
He's entering his prime, and D Wade, like you said, was on a decline.
He was 30. He was 30 when LeBron joined him in Miami.
Yeah, so I mean, there is a difference there, but it's hard to write off. And I know, like, it gets overshadowed because this was like the height of the Golden State dynasty, and they're the fakest fucking dynasty in sports. Don't even get me started. But Cleveland Kyrie gets overshadowed by that because that dude was balling too, man. I know he had the shot in the finals, obviously, but man, I think I'd put it AD a close second, Cleveland Kyrie, and then Wade. And I'm not a Wade hater. I like Wade. I'm not trying to knock the guy. I like him a lot, but man, healthy Cleveland Kyrie was a different breed because I think he's a Pippen. I don't think he's a Jordan, and I think we'll see that when KD and him are healthy next year.
So one thing that carried Wade with me was his success before LeBron. Like when Kyrie, AD, they didn't have that, where Wade was like – Miami was consistently good with D-Wade. So
but he had Shaq.
Well, Shaq was old, and then even after Shaq, Miami was still competing in the East.
Shaq was still good, though. And AD was playing in the Smoothie King Center for the owner of the Saints side hustle, man. Like, they didn't even have NBA trainers. They sent the NFL guys over there to look at him. It's like – it's like a guy that owns it's like the dude that owns Diamonds, right? Diamonds is his baby, but he's got that drive-through across the parking lot that he owns. It's his side hustle. That's like what the Pelicans were. Like, it's hard to use the winning, I like the postseason success on it because like the Benson family doesn't give a shit about the Pelicans. They're just making money off of it. Who wants to play in the Smoothie King Center?
Well, one thing we know also, Wade or AD's not hitting that Game 7 shot that Kyrie hit either.
No, yeah.
That's probably true.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Wade's definitely got that clutch killer gene in him.
And I may have made that take too early because we're going to have to see what AD can do when the pressure's the tightest. I don't know if the pressure is going to be the same in the bubble. It's definitely not because you don't have all those fans. But if they get to the Western Conference Finals up against the big boys and the Clippers, the favorites in everybody's eyes, will he show
When's
up?
the finals supposed to be played? What dates? What are the dates for the finals? Is it October?
It was going to be in October, I think, but there was the boycott thing that happened, so I don't know what that's done or how that's pushed it back. That whole thing really threw me off, because I was like in a schedule with how the bubble was going, and now I'm kind of thrown off.
Well, that's a couple weeks. We might get some fans in there. NFL, I mean,
I know-
they're adding fans. We might, I don't know.
I don't think the
We
NBA
might-
will do fans, but they're letting family members come in and come to the games after they clear quarantine, which is cool.
Just pack the fucking stands already. Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
Still
I'm
doing
over
this
it.
shit.
All the
Yeah, I
way
don't
till the
know.
election, baby.
Sticking with
Imagine
basketball.
Arrowhead with oh, go ahead.
Arrowhead, we're getting 20%, 22% fans opening
It's just
game.
going to be weird because of all the the Chiefs have great fans. It's going to be just weird not seeing that place just packed out with that place roaring. The first game after the Super Bowl. It's just
Yeah, they're not going to
weird.
get their rings in front of the fans and stuff. I mean, 22,000 people doing the Arrowhead chant or whatever it's called. It's going to be weird.
It's about to
Opposed
get
to,
canceled.
what, is it
We gotta chill.
80,000?
And if they get rid of that shit, I'm not in the political talks at all. I stay out of that as much as I can. But if they get rid of the tomahawk chop, I will lose my shit. I promise.
Yeah,
Dude,
fuck
that's
that,
stupid.
dude. That's
The
big
chief is
bullshit.
the chief is like a top ranking official in that. That's like a compliment. That's like Redskin. I can get. That's a little different, but like you can't wear a headdress or whatever now. Like, come on, dog. Like a chief is a compliment. He's the boss. He's the leader.
Yeah, I don't know. But sticking to the NBA, what do you guys think about Steve Nash becoming the Nets coach?
Why are they?
I'll
Why
say
do they
one
just keep
thing. I
hiring
hate
guards?
I hate Stephen A's take. I think that was bullshit.
Yeah, that was complete trash, and I'm glad he got
Yeah,
called out
dude.
for it by almost everybody.
Yeah, everybody, dude. Because you're reaching now, dude. You're just trying to cause a problem.
Yeah, that was a Max
I don't
Kellerman
know,
take
man.
that he pulled out right there.
It's weird. Like the Nets did this already, Like I know Jason Kidd that he came straight from retirement to head coach in the Nets, and it was a disaster. I like Steve Nash. I hate that the Steve Nash Lakers were trash and he was hurt the whole time, but I mean, I like Steve Nash. I think he's a very smart basketball guy. I could see him being a good head coach, but it's like you've got. I mean, and I want to know how much KD and Kyrie had to do with that. I'm sure a lot, but it's like I almost feel like with that team, they could be damn good next year. You got LeVert, KD, Kyrie, DeAndre Jordan's there. Spencer Dinwiddie's nice in his own right. I almost feel like they should have got like a vet that can maybe manage those egos better because like Steve Nash is, I don't know, he just doesn't have any experience, and I've never known him to be that like jump in your ass kind of guy that I think that they may need because Kyrie and KD are weird dudes. They're weird kind of in the same way. So it might be tough to manage those egos. I would have gone with a guy with some experience.
I think it's a great fit because I think Steve Nash is just as weird as those two.
That's true.
But no,
Not possible.
And a lot of that too, man. That goes down to the assistants. It really depends on what assistants he brings and how Kyrie and KD look at those assistants. Like one thing you can guarantee is, like you said, Kyrie and KD knew they were going to hire Nash before they ever hired Nash, so they had to give the okay for it.
Yeah,
Oh, for sure, because the players run the NBA.
And
The one
that
thing
is
I'll
the
say
team to beat next year for sure.
is I would like
Yeah,
to see Mark Jackson get another shot.
Absolutely.
I like Mark Jackson.
It's like, man, you built this Warriors team, and then you get fired, and then Steve Kerr reaps all the benefits.
Gets
So it's
all
like-
the love, dude. Because but I like Jackson calling games so much. I kind of don't want to lose him there.
there's got to be something there though, because this dude's getting absolutely zero love
Yeah.
for having that record of developing Clay and Steph from
And Draymond.
from what they were to like
And,
superstars. So something had to happen.
and I don't think it has anything to do with white or black coaches when it comes to Mark Jackson. I wonder if he's just looking for the right fit or if he doesn't want to do it. That's what I wonder.
Yeah, there is a narrative like, oh, and Mark Jackson doesn't have a job, but it's like, do we know that Mark Jackson wants a job? He might just be cool getting that TV money. He's a great analyst. I love listening to him call games. So he might not even want a job.
Yeah.
I hate that they Stephen A. brought up Ty Lue. Like, dude, he won a championship. We get it. But did anybody really think Ty Lue is a great coach?
No, I just think
They
he
could have won that with David Blatt.
Yeah.
Didn't he get a job today?
David Blatt or Ty Lue?
No, Ty Lue.
Ty Lue got a job. Where'd he go? He just went to
Wasn't it Philly?
Where was it? Yeah, Philly.
Did he get the Philly job? I didn't know that. I knew he was in looks
Yeah,
for it.
he
I didn't
did.
know he got it.
Yeah, Philly got a worse coach.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Dude,
crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I like Ty Lue. I just think that they just didn't like David Blatt so much because he was such a dick. And Ty Lue's like a former player. He was like one of the dudes. LeBron liked him. They were friends and shit, and so it just worked. But I mean, I probably could have got them to the finals. Like,
what is Philly
especially
going
with how
to
the
do?
East was.
What's Philly going to do? Are they going to get rid of Embiid or Simmons, or what do you think?
I think
Feels
they
like
stick
one of
with
them's
it.
got to go.
I think
They
they
stuck
Embiid.
with it for too long.
Yeah.
Well, okay, if they do that, then they need to get rid of Tobias Harris just because of the money.
And Horford.
Well, Horford was only
Yeah,
on
they got a
1 year
lot
deal.
of money in those two dudes.
I thought he signed a 2-year deal.
I think it was an option.
Oh, well, hopefully they get rid of him. He was terrible. Tobias
Yeah.
Harris is a fraud. I don't know how he keeps getting paid.
Dude, I don't get it. If you want to keep Embiid and Simmons, cool. Because if Simmons develops a consistent outside shot, watch out. And we've said that about Giannis before too. But that's just I don't know. I just feel like I'm always like, okay, Philly's like right there, like the process and all that shit is. But I'm like, dude, I'm like 10 years into this shit, and they're not doing anything. So I think I'm just like done believing in them.
Yeah, there's
I don't
that
know.
weird story about Ben Simmons' shot. Like, even when he was at LSU, they said he didn't want people in the gym when he was shooting. He's got, like, some weird – he doesn't like shooting.
Well, if it's like that and nobody can watch you shoot, then you might not be made up to be in the NBA, dog, because fans are coming back.
Yeah, I think that's why he started shooting threes in the bubble.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody's there.
It's like, nobody's going to see me take this corner three. Twitter will not notice.
Man, Twitter's on everybody's ass. I've just like recently got like really like checking Twitter a lot and trying to use Twitter. My LeBron tweet with the picture of him texting CP3, that was gold. Nobody retweeted that shit.
Twitter's hit or miss,
Give me
man.
This is a good time. This is a good time for us to drop our socials real quick, all right? Since we got listeners from both sides here. I am Drew_LRT. That is on Twitter and Instagram. Get my Twitter followers up, please. Chad, give them yours.
At Penrod937. No LRT.
That's pretty much on everything. And our Twitter is LRT Uncut on Twitter. So follow us there. Tyler, Josh, drop all yours so the people that like listen to us that are learning about you can find you guys. Good. That's a good plug for it.
My Twitter account is at Barney_BSP. You'll see me and Chad arguing on there quite a bit.
Yeah, we go at it too.
Yeah, you can find me at JCollierBSP. All right, don't argue with blue check marks.
Let's get into the re-signing that helped out Joe Burrow. How do you feel about Joe Mixon's deal and that big money coming his way?
I should have worn my Mixon jersey, man. He got paid.
Save the Bengals fan for last. Hold on, Drew.
Okay.
Because you're gonna make everything sound good, Bengals fan. Come on, man. That dude got overpaid. Let's be serious. Top 6 running back. Come on. Now I will say this: the contract does look better. The Chiefs have made it look like you can sign anybody and keep anybody. Like fucking salary cap.
$500 million.
But
they had like $157 in cap space at one point.
Hey, 177. Put some respect on it.
I mean, but he's overpaid. I mean, plain and simple, overpaid.
I think they did
I gotta
that.
agree.
I think they did that just to keep Burrow happy, and they know that Burrow. I know Cincy fans don't want to believe this, but Burrow is going to struggle a little bit, especially with no preseason games. No preseason games, no in-game pressure in the NFL. Is AJ going to stay healthy? We don't know. We know what Joe Mixon can do. Let's get him a bag. Let's make him happy, and let's hope he can lighten the load for Burrow. So in that
on
aspect,
the Burrow
it's
struggle,
a good signing.
On the Burrow struggle, though, we talked about this on our podcast before, and I don't know if you guys like have looked at the schedule, but they've got Jonah Williams starting at left tackle, who's never taken an NFL snap either because he lost his rookie year to injury. They're getting no preseason reps for these two guys who are both essentially rookies. Week 1, Joey Bosa. Week 2, Myles Garrett on short rest. So Joey Bosa on Sunday, Myles Garrett on Thursday. Shit.
Don't forget Josh Allen, week 4.
Who? Oh, the other Josh Allen from that draft.
The good one.
Yeah. So what do you think, Josh? Would you be okay if Jags would have signed Mixon for that deal?
Absolutely not. I am firmly in the do not pay a running back. unless they offer you what a Christian McCaffrey, Alvin Kamara, Zeke can do. I mean, those dudes are just different beasts. And I'm a Jags fan. Fournette got released like 30 minutes before that Mixon deal went down. And obviously, Jags Twitter was going crazy, and they posted their stats next to each other. And it was fairly similar, and it said one got waived and one just got $12 million a year. And it was just, yeah, I mean, I can't. I'm not going to do that. Not for 3.9 yards a carry and 4,000 yards. I don't know. That is,
All right.
you got to be
All right,
special.
Drew, put the sprinkles on this shit we just talked.
My thing is, I look at it like this, and I'm trying to pull up the breakdown that I had saved. When it first happened, they're like, Bengals reached an extension with Joe Mixon. I'm like, cool. As long as they didn't overpay, I'm happy. And then I saw the 4 years, $48 million. I was like, oh, shit. And we were kind of going back and forth in our group chat because we were like, probably about $8 million a year is probably good. You know, anything above 8 is too much. And then I see 12, and I'm like, oh, my God. Like, I get it. You know, like he's put up back-to-back 1,100-yard seasons with a shitty offensive line. He was a team leader last year, like helped keep the team together and not quit when they were fucking terrible. But then I saw like the real numbers. There's a $10 million signing bonus and $1.3 million base in 2020. That's his rookie deal. And he's going to have an $8 million base in 2021, an $8 million base in 2022, 9.4 in 2023, and then a club option for 2024. So I started looking at it like cap-wise. Bonus money doesn't matter. You can give a guy a bonus for as much as you want because you're just cutting him a check. My biggest thing was I didn't want his cap hit to handicap the roster going forward. Like you lose a guy because you paid a running back. And the cap hit itself, I think, is what matters more because the bonus money, that's just them handing him money. They're rich as hell. They can do whatever they want. So the cap hit's not bad. So I felt a lot better about it after I saw that. If he was going to have a $12 million a year cap hit, I would be totally out. And I'm a big Mixon guy. I like Mixon a lot. But I was saying like on my Instagram story, just giving my thought, that's just a position that you can't invest that kind of money in today's NFL. They break down too quickly. You can find a second, third round running back that you can almost plug and play. So the sticker shock, I was like, oh shit. But when I look at the actual cap hit, because the cap hit's all that matters to the team and their ability to sign other guys or keep other guys and everything like that. And the cap hit's not really that bad until the end of the deal when they have the option. And then what they do all the time to circumvent the cap, like our buddy Austin said, is, okay, if that cap hit gets too high but they want to keep him, they'll just convert that salary into a bonus anyway and free up cap. The salary cap, I'm learning more and more, is just like a myth. There's always a way around. Pittsburgh does it all the time. Oh, well, we're just going to make your salary a bonus. Here's a check. And the player's like, so I just get the money now? Cool. So I felt better about it. I mean, I'm not super, super excited about investing that much money in the running back position, but it's a situation where you're a shitty team. You got a new quarterback to keep happy, hopefully healthy. And you've got a running back who is, you know, near that upper echelon of running back. He's not a Zeke. He's not a Barkley. He's not I think he might be close with Kamara. But so, I mean, I'm not thrilled about it, but I'm not as upset as I was if he was having a $12 million cap hit. So I think that the way that they structured the deal was smart. And they're kind of in that situation where you had to pay him a little bit more just to keep him around because you were 2-14 last year. So I mean, I'm not trying to sprinkle too much sugar on the shit, but at the end of the day, he's a guy for the future that I don't think you wanted to just let go either. And I think what it probably means is, unless AJ Green takes a pay cut, I think he's probably gone after this year.
Do you think AJ finishes the season?
I sure as hell hope, but I mean, the last 3 or 4 years doesn't lead me to believe that he will.
They've already paved the way for him to exit with T. Higgins and, you know, Boyd and Ross. But I'm looking back to
Ross
Mixon.
is gone. But that's
Gone. Oh, but like going back to Mixon, like you said, $12 million a year. And look at Fournette. Fournette just got 3.5. I mean, in my opinion, Fournette's better than Mixon. But I'm real hard on the running backs. If it's not Christian McCaffrey, I'm probably not paying him. Now I'm one of the ones that really do like Derrick Henry. Imagine tackling that guy in the fourth quarter. I mean, so I think if they can't bring something different, like even Chubb, I think we can all agree Chubb's one of the top backs in the league. But if I can get Kareem Hunt, who's only playing for like $1 million this year, if I can keep Kareem Hunt for a couple million less than I can keep Chubb, I'm going to keep Kareem Hunt. It's just because these guys, you can find them, man. Like you said,
every year.
End of the first, beginning of the second. Like, it really boils down to your offensive line, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I'm completely
But
biased.
I think that's
with
part of
running
why
backs.
Mixon got paid.
With running backs, I'm completely biased. I mean, growing up, I went from Priest Holmes to Larry Johnson to Jamal Charles to Damian Williams.
Yeah.
Now it's like with Damian Williams, that guy in Miami was just a pass catcher. And he comes to Kansas City and he takes off running the ball. And then obviously we had Kareem Hunt, who was a stud for us. And now we have Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who I think, I'll save my bull protection for when we talk AFC West, but I think he's going to be better than Kareem Hunt was in our offense. So I just don't see.
Can he kick as good?
I guess we'll hopefully not see. But
we're uncut, man. I'm sorry. I got to say shit like that.
But yeah, I think maybe if Clyde's great, we get 4 years out of him, and then he's off somewhere else. And
you got a 5th-year option.
else.
He was a first-round pick.
Yeah, and we just get those 5 years or 4 years, whatever it is, and just keep on rolling.
Well,
when you got
Mixon
Patrick Mahomes, it don't fucking matter anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, no shit. You got a huge.
Yeah, I could. I mean, I could go out there and probably do it and get a Super Bowl with him.
But Mixon is and should, especially with that price tag now, going to be much more involved in the passing game. He has to be, because when Le'Veon Bell was asking for money, higher money, I think he wanted like 15 or 18 or something crazy, but he was like, because I do so much in the passing game, I should be paid like a number 1 running back and a number 2 receiver. Mixon has to get back and get more involved in the passing game, and he probably will, just because of the fact that I don't think Burrow's going to have all that much time, because just bringing in Jonah Williams and it isn't going to just improve your offensive line. Bobby Hart's still out there playing tackle, and I would put Tyler out there before I put Bobby Hart out there.
And don't forget, Jonah Williams played right tackle at Bama because Tua was a lefty. So left tackle's a brand new
protected the
experience
blind
for him. Yeah.
He flip-flopped a little bit based on who was in the game, but predominantly he was a right tackle. And Bobby Hart, they can send him to fucking France for all I care, dude. I don't put anybody else in there.
We're going to find out how good Jonah Williams is real quick.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, here's Joey Bosa on Sunday. By the way, after that, you got to get ready for Myles Garrett on Thursday, dude. Jesus.
Yeah, that'll be fun to watch. But there's a debate on Twitter that I got into an argument about. Now that I have Drew and Chad in here, it's your division, so I'd like to talk about it. I was told by several non-picture Twitter accounts that A.J. Green, Tyler Boyd, and T. Higgins is a better 3 than Jarvis, Odell, and Hollywood. So what's your guys' thoughts on that?
We really got to talk about this?
Hey.
Come on, man.
Well, I want to know what's up with Hollywood, because he didn't play last year.
That was no knock. I'm just saying, come on, man. Odell Beckham Jr. and Jarvis Landry, there's no way. And Higgins didn't play because Freddie's a fucking idiot. I mean, I don't know if you guys seen the stat, but opening drives of every quarterback, Baker Mayfield had the best passer rating, something. He was the best at something, which is odd. And that just shows you the lack of Freddie Kitchens, man. And I'll be the first one to tell you, and I've said this, that I wanted Freddie Kitchens just because of the connection he had with Baker Mayfield. Who don't want that? I mean, the Browns never have, hey, my coach likes my quarterback. Like, they fucking hated Johnny Manziel from the beginning. So it's tough. But I think they got it right with Stefanski. I think that this offense they're gonna run their rock. But as far as the receiver goes, I think you're about to see something big out of Odell this year.
Give me Higgins is both Higgins, Hollywood Higgins and T. Higgins. Like, Hollywood didn't play last year. T. Higgins is a rookie. Healthy AJ at age, and that's a few years removed. So get me wrong. I think that a healthy AJ and Tyler Boyd with a good line and decent quarterback play could be right up there with Odell and Landry, but as of right now,
We
I would
haven't
have to
seen
give the nod to
AJ in
Odell
2
Landry.
years. We have not seen AJ.
No, that's what
Green
I'm
in 2
saying.
years.
That's what I'm saying. If we're talking right now, then you got to go with the Browns receiving core. I mean, Odell was hurt all year last year and still managed 1,000 yards. Now, Tyler Boyd is quietly underrated, but you haven't seen AJ for a full season. Hell, you didn't see him at all last year. I mean, I think the last full season I saw for him was 2016. So, I mean, if we're making that argument right now, you got to go with the Browns. The Browns.
And
guys.
I know we're just talking wide receiver core here too, but then you can add in fucking Austin Hooper, David Njoku, and then this kid Bryant we just got in the 4th round who was named training camp MVP of the Browns. I mean, the Browns I think all the way across is a lot better, but specifically the receivers, I think that they're better there too. What do you guys think? I mean, you guys are outsiders looking in, unbiased opinion.
I had the Browns all day, but then when you get down to it, it's just how Bengals fans view AJ still. And I was told that AJ is top 3, better than Tyreek. I was told all this stuff. So I'm like, man, he hasn't played Tyreek. He hasn't played in so long that you can't really even say that. And they're also, I've noticed, very, very high on Tyler Boyd. So
Tyler Boyd's underrated as fuck, man.
From their perspective,
I like Tyler Boyd.
I guess it was a good argument if you're thinking of 24-year-old, 25-year-old AJ Green. But
Yeah, that's what the whole argument was based on, was AJ in his prime and the nostalgia, but ignoring the fact that he has missed the last 2 years. Obviously,
yeah, I mean, a lot of it depends on when you're talking.
So are they saying AJ in his prime or AJ now?
No, the argument was AJ now, but they're thinking of AJ. They're assuming AJ is just going to go back to 2016 AJ when we have no idea what he's going to look like.
Well, yeah, you can't assume.
What the fuck is wrong with these Bengals fans around here, man?
Dude, I can't stand them. I'm sorry, Drew. Joe Burrow, I hope he fails this year, and it's not because of him. It's because of your fan base.
Yeah, I mean, they're terrible.
That just comes with the territory of living around here and liking a team that's not the Bengals. Now, there are some really, really dumb Bengals fans. There's some really dumb Browns fans. I don't know any other Jags fan like that I've ever met.
No, we're used to hurt, so we're not dumb anymore.
But look, he wants Miles Jack from you guys. You guys need a tight end because you're going to get – I mean, Tyler Eifert's going to look phenomenal on your injury report, dude. It's going to look great. You guys should just trade him, Miles Jack, for fucking Njoku.
I'm all about that. And they can have a draft pick.
Hey, we're not tanking, okay? Doug
Dude,
Marone
you guys are tanking.
we're not.
And you guys just traded that safety to the Browns, and I'm hearing a lot of good stuff about that dude. I don't know a ton about him, but a lot of the stuff I'm hearing is really good.
No, he's solid. That was one, and another Jags fan put it perfectly. It was like it didn't hurt that much, but with everything they're doing right now, it just put us over the edge. You're like, all right, this is dumb. Like, what's going on? Yeah, Harrison, he's solid. He has flashes where you're like, oh my God, he's a beast, but then he does stupid stuff. Or a tight end's running wide open up the seam, and he's looking in the backfield. So you got to be careful.
Well, the Browns need more of a box safety, right, Chad?
Yeah, he's gonna play that Grant Delpit role where they're gonna be in the nickel, and he's gonna play in the bye, a little bit of linebacker, a little bit on the line, a little bit of safety. I would imagine. And he's only 23. 5th round pick. That 5th round pick actually came from the Rams for Austin Corbett. So. Austin Corbett for Harrison. I'll take it because we need the safety help. Yeah.
Nick Saban loved him. I know that Nick Saban said that Minka got all the love that year, but he spoke differently about Harrison.
Yeah, they said he was the smartest dude on the field.
Yeah. So, I mean, that could be good. It's definitely a position. I was excited to watch Grant Delpit, man. I would have been in on the Bengals taking him at pick 1 of the 2nd round if he would have been there. I would have been all in on it. So it sucks to see that happen to him because I don't have this hatred for the Browns, and I think a lot of it's just because like they haven't really mattered. No offense, but it's like I'm gonna focus on Pittsburgh and Baltimore who beat us all the time. But I was excited for Delpit, and it just sucks to see that.
Dude, I expect 0 from the Browns this year. I'm not even. It's been on paper, and it's kind of like the Bucks love you're getting right now. I think Tyler retweeted this, but the Bucks are going to be the 2019 Browns. You're going to have all this talent, but only have one ball, so.
Yeah, but you got the greatest quarterback ever throwing that ball.
That's true. That's true too. That is true. And but
I want to see how mad I can get Tyler on that one.
Oh, Tyler hates Tom Brady.
I know. I want to see how I can get him on that one.
Okay, while we're on the Bucks, we can talk about Fournette signing there, and we can talk about all the hype that it's getting. And everybody's talking about, he's got Gronk, he's got Fournette, he's got Evans, he's got Godwin. Which, yes, Evans and Godwin are dogs. And we're going to talk about the Bucks all off season until they put the cleats on the field and see who's really got it. Is Gronk going to be solid? Probably, but when we're talking about Brady being the greatest quarterback of all time, sure, he is. But right now, I'm taking 9 other quarterbacks over Brady. So I don't think it's just instant plug and play with Brady's going to have success in Tampa. And I still see the Saints win that division. I'm just not high on the Bucks. I don't know if it's their defense or what it is, but I'm not buying this super team that all the social media sports outlets are trying to push on us.
Well, there's one every year.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Drew.
There's one every year, right? And the thing is with Fournette, Bruce Arians was like, we got a starting running back. Fournette's going to have to come in here and carve out what his role is. They're not just plugging him in as the number one back. And I don't know with Fournette, man. He hasn't been the same coming out, and not a shot at the Jags, but it's did the Jags just kind of ruin him? Or what? I don't know what the issue is there.
I don't think the Jags ruined anything. I think Fournette's a dog, man. I think he's a dog, period. And that's why I don't believe all the talk. He's going to come in and be Ronald Jones' backup. Bullshit. he's not.
That might Fournette's being a hard ass.
Fournette's the best back on that team.
Soon. Oh, absolutely. Couldn't agree more, man.
Arians used to drink paint, so.
You see, that's going to add LaShawn McCoy to the list of the stars on that team. What in the fuck? He didn't even dress for the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, in the playoffs at all.
Yeah, he's not the shady that he used to be.
Yeah, it's just a name.
Yeah, that's name recognition. That's all it is.
I know you want to talk about Fournette.
Yeah, how do you feel about Fournette leaving your team?
So I loved Fournette. I had no issues with him. It sucked that he got the burden of being a top 5 pick because he wasn't the best back in that draft. And honestly, the coaches in Jacksonville didn't like him. That was a Tom Coughlin pick. And every sports writer in Jacksonville will tell you that. It was Tom Coughlin trying to go back to 1990s football. We're going to pound it with Fournette and have Blake Bortles throw the ball 10 times a game. And then when Marone got the job, it was, now we got to figure out what to do with this guy because we spent the top 5 pick on him. Fournette's good. He's not top 5 good. He'll get you yards. He averaged 4 yards a carry behind a crappy offensive line. His vision's kind of suspect, but he's a special back. When he gets open field, he's a big boy, and he runs fast.
I got a question for you, Josh.
Go ahead.
I did.
Josh, here's my question. That team in the AFC Championship, look at that roster and look at the roster now, dude. What the fuck?
Dude, so that defense.
We've had to live through this the last couple of days. Everybody's retweeting it, the roster. Out of all the players on that team, there's only out of the starters, there's 3 starters left. You got Miles Jack, Avery Jones. Actually, after Fournette got cut, it's 2. And that's it.
Dude, how does that happen? All you needed was a quarterback.
Tom Coughlin is what happened.
Blake Bortles played an AFC Championship game, and Andy Dalton has never won a playoff game. That's wild.
Yeah, I saw an awesome stat today, and I retweeted it. Blake Bortles has as many playoff wins as Drew Brees since 2014. Wow. I love it. I love Blake Bortles. I'm a Blake Bortles stan.
If you guys are giving up players, you can go ahead and send DJ Chark over to Cleveland too if you guys want.
Yeah,
man, I already put in dibs on that.
Chark is staying. If Chark leaves, I told Tyler I'm done. I'm done.
I like Gardner Minshew though, just because he's a white trash piece of shit. I feel like Gardner Minshew is the guy that Baker kind of wants to be, like personality wise.
Yeah,
that's not a shot at Baker.
Have you seen those? You've seen those commercials, man?
He's got an acting career.
Yeah, I'm super torn on Minshew. I want him to be good, but you got Trevor Lawrence staring you in the face. It's kind of
tank, man. At this
they're
point,
tanking for Trevor. Look,
Minshew's
a cool dude. like he tried to break his hand to get another year of eligibility and shit. Like he's a badass, cool dude. But like at the end of the day, I think Gardner Minshew is just like a guy that should live in Jacksonville, Florida, but not necessarily play quarterback there.
Yeah, he's so I made the comparison. He's Ryan Fitzpatrick. He's never going to be the worst quarterback out there. He'll win you 4 or 5 games a year, but he's not going to win you a Super Bowl, and he's not going to get you that first overall pick.
And he's not worth turning down Trevor Lawrence, dude, because Trevor Lawrence would have gone number 1 overall 3 years ago after playing high school football the year before. Like he's
it's
the guy.
Yeah,
I think it just usually doesn't work out these days. I mean, look at the Dolphins. I mean, they ended up getting
because of Fitzpatrick.
Exactly. If you got Minshew,
Yeah,
Minshew's going to win you games.
We're not going to be the worst team in the league. I don't care what anybody says. We're winning 4 games.
Who's going to be the worst team in the league?
While we're talking Fitzpatrick, how long do you think before Tua's in there?
We talked about that on our breakdown of that division, and I wasn't too sure. I was thinking maybe 4 or 5 games Fitzpatrick would play, but now I'm just like, man, with being the COVID situation, and the more I think about it, I just think Fitzpatrick plays the whole season because they're probably not making the playoffs regardless. And they added all those pieces on defense, so I just think they'll gel on defense and get ready for next year.
Yeah, I think they hide Tua as long as possible. Nothing against him, but why not give him the year? Fitzpatrick's going to get you wins. Let's build the team, get some more draft picks. They got 2 draft picks in the first round again, so.
I've never liked Tua. Tua's going to suck.
Oh, jeez.
And that's not just because I was a Burrow guy. It was my whole mindset last year. It started out as fail for Fromm, and then Georgia started playing football again. I was like, all right, never mind. I was never in on Tua. Lefties hardly ever work out in the NFL. I think he's small. I'm not a Tua guy. But I could easily see him coming in and playing 4 or 5 games in if Fitzpatrick's out there throwing picks, because you'll get the Ryan Fitzpatrick that'll pop up, throw like 5 touchdowns, maybe a pick, and get you, win you a shootout. And then you have the Fitzpatrick that comes out and throws like 5 picks and 1 touchdown. So it just kind of depends on what you get. But in this day and age, man, if he's healthy, and I know that he got a medical clearance a while ago, I think at some point you got to throw him in there and see what you got. I mean, why not? You have this window. If he hits and he's the guy, you have this rookie quarterback contract window that you're supposed to be able to pounce on. Why not get him in there and see if you can jumpstart that? I don't agree with hiding rookies for a whole year anymore. I mean, you don't want to Tim Couch him like, the Bengals very well could Tim Couch Burrow, because I'll tell you for the rest of my life, Tim Couch could have been damn good. He was just
it's going to be 2 to 4 games, because once the fans start beating that drum, it's a wrap for me. I'm a Browns fan. Dude, we fucking go through quarterbacks like underwear. So it's 2 to 4 games, and 2 is in there, because I would like to see their schedule, and put it in front of me. But it won't be long.
My argument against that is Fitzpatrick is a smart quarterback. I'm not going to say he's Alex Smith type of mentor, but look how good Mahomes. I know we could say Mahomes would be that good if he started year 1, but my counter argument against sitting Tua would be letting him develop and letting that NFL speed come to him on the sidelines. So get to see it up close and review every play on the sidelines. So maybe he'll just sit and learn for a year. See a point rushing out there.
I think it just kind of depends on the team, because I think, 1, you get Andy Reid, one of the greatest coaches of all time, and 2, they weren't bad. The Chiefs weren't bad. Where'd they go to the year before? I know they went to the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They lost to the Steelers and field goals.
Yeah. So as to where you get a team, like the Bengals, like the Browns, like the Dolphins, who don't have that luxury, So that's why I think that those guys will get forced in, because you're not watching Alex Smith, you're watching 50-year-old Ryan Fitzpatrick, or you're watching fucking Tyrod Taylor, somebody like that. So I think it just kind of depends on the scenario. Play before Tua.
I think so too.
You think Herbert plays before Tua?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Dad's a Browns fan, so he could probably say it more than I could. But Tyrod, he does things, but he's not like flashy. He just won't turn. He's boring, and fans are going to want that young rookie in there to.
Oh, dude, you should watch that Thursday night football game when Baker's sitting behind him, and he just couldn't get anything. He couldn't even get a first down. And I think the Bengals might win Week 1 just because of Tyrod Taylor. I'm with you. I think Herbert's in there quick too.
No Derwin James for that game makes me feel a little bit better for Burrow too. I hate that he got hurt, but
that's awful.
And on Chad's point, I argue this with people every day. I feel like he said Andy Reid is one of the greatest coaches of all time. And while I would say that's true, who was saying that before last year?
That's true.
I've always really liked him.
I don't think anybody argued against Andy. It was always Andy can't win the big one.
Yeah, he needed to get a ring to solidify it.
Yeah. It's just like, man, it's like every time somebody tries to debate against Mahomes, it's like, well, he's got all these weapons. He's got one of the greatest coaches of all time. But before that, it was always, Andy Reid can't win the big game. So it's like it's like Mahomes it's like Mahomes gets all the credit or gets all the blame if he doesn't have a good game or anything. And then Andy Reid gets all the credit for winning the Super Bowl. Now he's one of the greatest coaches of all time, when before he was known as a choke artist. So that's like an argument that I like to get in a lot of the times, just because I do think Andy Reid, I love Andy Reid. I think he's one of the greatest coaches of all time, but nobody was saying that until he won a Super Bowl. It was always, this guy chokes in the big game.
Now Andy Reid going to win that Super Bowl, and they say it's not Mahomes. They need to go rewatch the second half of that fourth quarter.
Yeah.
It's just because
I like Andy Reid though, just because he's like, you know what? They're like, what's it like to have a Super Bowl? And he's like, it's cool. You can flash it and get a free cheeseburger.
That dude loves some cheeseburgers.
Like
yeah, he admits it.
Even
like, what'd you do after you won the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
He's like, I ate a cheeseburger and went to bed.
But last week, I don't know if you guys tuned in, but we had a guest, a Cowboys fan, and he made a lot of bold predictions. Is there any bold predictions?
Man, I was high when I said that.
Team? Is there any bold predictions you want to make for the Bengals?
I mean, I've not really anything bold. I've had them consistently between like 6 and 8 wins. Maybe they get hot and get that second wild card spot. I doubt it. I said I'd shave my head if they did. And for our listeners, if you're checking this out, you've never actually got to see my mullet in person. It's getting pretty fucking nice. But nothing bold. I think to me, like 500 would be a win just based on how last year was. So I don't really have any bold predictions.
I have a question. If Burrow wins 3 games, are you mad or is that progress?
That's not enough progress because the Bengals lost like 6 games last year, I think, by a touchdown or less. And a lot of that can come down to coaching. Zach Taylor was a little bit in over his head last year. You saw him have like some meltdowns.
It is coaching.
Well, it's not all coaching. Sometimes it's breaks, but a lot of it, I mean, it has a good amount to do with coaching. That's got to be a step forward too, because they were in so many games last year with a bad roster, with, Andy Dalton. So there should have been, if the team stayed exactly the same and Taylor's second year and, he had a weird offseason and all that shit, took a while to get settled in. He had to interview like 18 defensive coordinators before somebody would take the job. That's all done. And I know this hasn't been a normal offseason either, but it's got to be to a point where even if that roster stayed exactly the same, that team should have gone from a 2-win team to a 6-win team, just on the natural progression of him installing what he's going to do, if he's good enough to do it. And the jury's still out on that.
If the Bengals only win 3 games, they better fire Zach Taylor because he didn't deserve the job in the first place. I'm put that out there. Zach Taylor's garbage in my opinion, and they need to go get that dude from Kansas City, Eric. I don't how you say his last name.
Bieniemy.
Yep, that needs to be their next head coach if they win 3 games.
Well, that all depends on how Zach Taylor's contract's written up, because Mike Brown would eat his own child before he ate $1 of a coach's contract. So is it like it was a 4-year deal? I know that, but is there an option there? Is there an out? That's what's going to come down to. But I do agree with you. If they don't make a 4 or 5, maybe even a 6-game jump with the money that they spend on the defense, with the new quarterback, especially if AJ Green's healthy the whole year and is still what we think that what he used to be, if that, and that's a huge if, but there should be a natural progression from that team anyway. Winning one more game with all the money they spent on defense, with, the Tyler Boyd, AJ Green, T Higgins, and obviously Burrow, it shouldn't, 3 games, I'm still pissed. And I'm pissed at everybody involved, not just Burrow.
And this is a kind of fun question I like to ask people that are fans. Who is an X factor that you can see making a big contribution for the Bengals that not a lot of people talk about? Not a big name.
We had kind of a discussion, Chad and I and some of our buddies, about the most underrated players in our division on the teams in the AFC North. And for the Bengals, I think it's William Jackson III. And I think that was Chad's pick too, because I said Mixon at first because I didn't think Mixon really got enough love for what he does. But when he said William Jackson III, that's really it, because he's damn good and people don't talk about it. And that's going to be, the cornerback situation is going to be interesting because they overpaid Trey Waynes, who was like a different Drake. They could have just kept Drake Kirkpatrick. Like, it would have been the same guy. But so that would probably be it. But I mean, if you want to talk about the X factor of the Bengals offense, it's going to have to go through Mixon. They're going to have to set up these throws for Burrow. Burrow's not going to just come in and throw it all over the yard like he did in LSU, because and you're playing in the SEC, maybe the most pro-ready conference that, like I've said, but in the SEC, you may have 4 or 5 NFL caliber guys on the field at a time on a defense. Now you're going against 11 of them. So I think that honestly, the biggest X factor is going to be Mixon. He's going to have to earn that money.
The X factor on the Browns, if you want to, like, okay, who's a surprise? You got to keep your eyes on Harrison Bryant. He's done past Njoku in the depth chart. He's the second tight end. And he's a big reason why you're seeing the Njoku trade talk. And if you watched any Vikings game last year, you would see that Stefanski runs heavy sets nonstop. I mean, he ran it more than anybody. I've seen a stat line where he ran it like 44% was in a heavy formation last year, and the next team was at like 17%, which is crazy. Bold prediction for the Browns. I think the Browns should get in there. Add another team to the playoffs. I think the Browns should make the playoffs. But
they have no reason
run the
not
ball.
to.
Run Chubb, run Hunt to death. Those guys should touch the ball 50 times together a game, if not 60. Just run the ball. You got that Gary Kubiak offense, and and then obviously that'll set up the over the top to Odell and Jarvis and Harrison Bryant, Austin Hooper. I mean,
and how good Baker is out of play action.
So if you guys want a fantasy sleeper, there he is, Harrison Bryant.
Well, hold on. Burrow's getting all this shit because people are hyping. Harrison Bryant hasn't played an NFL game either. Yeah, he hasn't had a full speed linebacker coming out. Let's give him some time too. Leave my boy alone, man.
Hey, he said he's a sleeper. I've never seen a Harrison Bryant holding a Lombardi Trophy Avy on Twitter yet. I think that's why Burrow gets some heat.
I'm making one. I'm posting it. Retweet it.
All right, I'll retweet it for sure. But so Chad, do you think that they can dethrone the Ravens for the division? I don't know if you watched our other episode, but I had the Steelers winning that division or competing for it. Do you think the Browns can make a run at the Ravens?
First off, let me say the Steelers' defense is nasty.
That's why I had that.
Yeah, it is.
Where's the hole at on that defense? I don't think there is. Well, maybe at D tackle now that they lost Hargrove. I mean, maybe. I don't know if you guys listen to ours either, but I have 3 teams coming out of there.
So did I.
I actually think it's going to be one of the, if not the best division in football. But I have Baltimore, the Steelers, and Cleveland all getting the playoffs. And I actually have the Ravens for sure above them. I don't know where I'm at with the Steelers yet. The wide receiver scare me, but then again, Ben makes Mike Wallace's look great. So you just don't know. But I could see why you would pick the Steelers. I mean, they went 8-8 with some dude named Duck, and Mason Rudolph in one year. So I don't think it's going to be.
His brain doesn't even work anymore.
I mean, Baltimore got Calais Campbell. I mean, that's crazy. I mean, they got rid of Earl Thomas. I guess something going in the locker room. But are you guys with me when it's like, all right, I'm sick of doubting Lamar. I hate the Lamar to Mahomes comparison too. I know, Tyler, you got to hate that. Fucking stop
absolutely
comparing
hate it.
Lamar Jackson to Mahomes. That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard. But
Chiefs fans hate Ravens fans more than anybody, don't they?
soon there's got to
Yes.
be – they're going to figure the Lamar shit out, you would think. Like, all right, soon it's like, all right, you're not going to run on us. You're not going to run for 150 yards a game. We're going to make you throw the ball. And I think when somebody puts out the recipe to do that, I think that's when it's like, oh, fuck. Okay, now what do we have in a quarterback instead of –
He can't throw outside the numbers.
Yeah,
It's
and
just-
it gets exposed consistently. His outside the numbers throws are awful. And then if
Yeah.
he
He's
has
never won
any
a
coverage,
playoff game.
yeah,
And my take on that is, like regular season, if you're a contending team, are you going to throw out the defense you plan to run against Lamar in the playoffs? Probably not. So I don't think I think Lamar is going to continuously be a great regular season quarterback. But if you watch the Chargers game, his first playoff game, they stuffed the middle of the field, shut down the tight ends, and made them throw outside the numbers. Tennessee did the exact same thing. That's why the first drive, Lamar had that pick over the middle because they had that. They're just
that was
crammed
Mark
in
Andrews'
between the
fault,
numbers.
remember?
Oh yeah, Mark Andrews' fault. Sorry, Ravens fans. But it's like you don't ever see that in the regular season. You don't ever see him just putting 8 in the middle. It's always just like a normal game plan because you don't really have. Do you really want to break your flow of defense for 1 week, or do you want to keep running the defense that you're going to run all year long? When you're in the playoffs, you have to adjust to that. So that's why I think he'll continue to be an MVP type quarterback in the regular season.
Another thing, too, just to knock on Baltimore, and obviously I'm not knocking on them, but, you keep seeing the Dez Bryants and the Antonio Browns there, and that doesn't scare me at all. I mean, somebody's got to throw him the fucking ball, and it ain't going to be Lamar. So the
But he
best
threw
thing they
5
can
touchdowns against the Dolphins.
do –
He led the league in touchdowns.
best thing they can do is just keep getting tight ends because, I mean, that's the play. Run the ball.
They run
hit
3
the
tight end
ends.
sets more than anybody. It's awful.
Yeah.
And back
But-
to the Steelers, I have to work this in anytime I can. Fuck J.J. Watt and fuck his little brother, who's like, I'm like J.J., but I'm a bad boy because I'm a Steeler. Get the fuck out of here. I just got to work that in.
I think that's all the questions I got for you guys. You guys got any questions for us before we wrap this up?
Yeah,
Who's
hey,
the X
Tyler, I
factor
got-
of the Chiefs?
That's a good question because I got plenty. Juan Thornhill coming back next to
It's
Tyrann
Mahomes,
Mathieu.
dude.
No, that's the obvious one. I'm talking about under the radar. It would have to be Juan Thornhill on defense and McCole Hardman on offense. I think McCole Hardman jumps D-Rob for that third wide receiver spot by the end of the year.
Josh, you're my boy. The X factor for the Jags is going to be Trevor Lawrence in 2021.
No, I hope not. I can't sit through a number 1 overall pick kind of season.
It sucks. But, dude, after about week 6, you're just like, oh, hell yeah, dude, get the pick.
Have the Jags ever had the number 1 pick?
Never. And that's what I'm not used to it. We've always been bad, but never 1 overall pick bad. So it's
They
kind
had
of
to
a
have
whole-
gotten one when they were, like, established as an expansion franchise, right?
No, we went to the playoffs our first 3 years in expansion franchise. AFC
I
title
thought,
game.
I
our
thought an
third year.
expansion team always got the first pick.
No, yeah, I don't know how that worked out. But yeah, the
that was a
Jags
long
have
time.
never had the number 1 overall pick. Yeah, 25 years this year.
Tyler, who finishes second in the AFC West?
That's tough. I'm not a big Drew Lock believer.
Oh, fuck off. I love Drew Lock, dude. He's a gangster.
Maybe because he was pounding out Gracie Hunt, and that's big. But
Oh, dude. Yeah.
I would say the Chargers. The Chargers give us more problems than anybody in the division, and their defense is always going to be solid. Losing Derwin James is a hit, but I think they get Herbert in there or stay with Tyrod even. I think they come in second. I think the Raiders are always going to be last. I don't trust Derek Carr one bit, and I just don't buy into the Drew Lock hype. So I got to go Chargers finishing second.
Last question from me, guys. Will Ohio State play in the fall?
Absolutely.
We're going to
I'm
start
happy.
playing October 10th, it sounds like.
According to Sir Yacht. That's what they
Yeah.
say.
How does that work? Do they make the play? Can they make the playoffs if they play 8 games?
They're talking about starting a 10-game season in October. It would have to be devoid of bye weeks, I would guess. But with there's such a gap between the end of the regular season and the college football playoff, they'll find a way to, if they, get the Big Ten championship, they'll make Ohio State eligible. I mean,
Yeah,
well, they'll
if
make
Ohio State
Michigan
goes
eligible because
undefeated.
Michigan's not fucking losing.
Who's playing quarterback this year? Is it McCaffrey finally?
I think it might be Joe Milton, dude. I don't know. They haven't
It
really
might be
said.
Adam Rudy. You never know.
I feel so bad to sit behind Shea Patterson for 2 years and then not get the starting job.
Yeah, that was a fucking hoax. Dude, then last year the spread was supposed to fit him, dude. Shea Patterson's a fucking bum. He's like,
Hey, he's a Chiefs legend.
yeah, he signed with the Chiefs for like 7 minutes. Now he's like posting videos in Nashville working out at a high school field or something. It's like, give it up, dude. Go get a job as like an insurance agent or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, I was nervous when he went to Michigan. That ended quickly.
Yeah, dude, I went to the Middle Tennessee State game last year. Like, opening game of the year, night game, had great seats. Big house place is awesome. I'm like, dude, Shea Patterson's offense, this is dope. They fucking struggled against Middle Tennessee State. I like Googled where that was, like walking to the stadium. What a letdown. Dude, Jim Harbaugh's an idiot. I'm ready for. He's my new Marvin Lewis, man. Like he just pisses me off, but he won't go anywhere.
Is he out this year if they play?
I don't fucking know because no Michigan coach has ever been 0-4 against Ohio State, let alone 0-5 like he is now. He should have been fired 2 years ago. I don't know if it's because he played there for Bo Schembechler or like he's gotten Michigan to like a little bit more of like a popularity relevancy thing because he's like quirky and weird and shit, but he hasn't really done anything more than any of the last 2 guys that have been there. So I don't know. I don't know what hold he has on them or why he gets like this pass, but he should have been gone.
Yeah, I just don't see the hype in him either. But
fuck
closing
Brian
this
Kelly
up,
too.
quit hating. But this is a fun podcast. I'm sure we'll do this with you guys again soon. Shout out to the flock. We're getting YouTube views over 100. We appreciate that. The downloads go up every week, so we appreciate you guys sticking with us through Zoom. Can't wait to get in person with Josh and hopefully have a little better chemistry going, not interrupting each other so much. But thank you guys.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you guys for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having us on, man. It was a good time, and like I said, check out all of our social media platforms. We can do this again, and this is fun. I like anybody that does a podcast around here. It's a good time, and I listen to your guys' stuff. You guys can check ours out. We're just like a little bit more like just like rough and just saying really crazy shit.
Yeah, I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having us on, and definitely have to do this again.
Yes, sir. It was fun.